Here we are again, the Norfolk Broads, although not quite so sunny today, but we're ready for another full week this time, not just a few days. This time on Melody 2. I don't know if you can see the name there. Just after 3, and in almost record time, we're out of Richardson's boatyard, and our week-long cruise is underway. And the tides and the times have come together in like a way that they haven't before, in that I think we will be able to explore every single part of the Broads, other than places our boat won't fit under, low bridges. I guess by the end of this video you'll know, because we're not entirely sure.
The Norfolk Broads are one of the UK's inland waterway systems. Comprised of over 120 miles of lock-free navigable rivers, 7 of them, and a handful of small lakes, or broads, this beautiful area of the country spans about 117 square miles, mostly in Norfolk but partly in Suffolk. Well, that's what Wikipedia tells us. Some of those rivers have low bridges, like this, which will restrict how far we can get in our sedan-style cruiser. Here's a map. Waveney Bridge sits at the top of the River Ant, which counts this section out. Roxham Bridge will stop us getting further up the River Bure. Potterheim's infamous and ancient bridge stops pretty much all cruisers exploring the upper reaches of the River Thurn. On the southern Broads, south of the terrifying Breydon water, that's where the sea monsters live, we can get everywhere on the Yare and the River Chet, but no hire cruisers are allowed beyond Bishop's Bridge on the River Wensum in Norwich. On the River Waveney, we can get as far as Beccles before Beccles' Old Road Bridge, that's the one you just saw, will stop our exploration. So, with those areas ruled out, we still have about 80 river miles to cover to complete our grand tour. Well, that makes for a total of 160 once we've gone there and come back.
So as part of the big grand tour of the Broads plan, I'm going to do something that I've never done coming out of Stalham. And as we're coming down the end of the Stalham Dyke, we're about to join the River Ant, and usually I turn left and we head down towards Barton Broad. But because we need to fill every part of the Broad, we're going right, and that means we're going to go up to Waveney Bridge before we turn around and come back. So we've never done this before, but we're about to. Oh, there we go. So we came up here for the first time last year to see this really cute windmill and cottage. And so this year, I'm getting it on film. And I probably should have focused more on driving the boat, so I've ended up on the correct side of a channel. But never mind, there's a cute windmill. So of course, I've called that structure behind us a windmill, but as anyone who's familiar with the Norfolk Broads will know, that's not really a windmill, it's actually a wind pump. So before people type on the keyboard that I've put the wrong thing, it's a wind pump. That's a monster. And after just 50 minutes, we've already reached the first head of navigation here on the River Ant, Waveney Bridge. And I'm going to have to stop filming because I need to turn around. So there's the low Waveney Bridge behind us, and if we wanted to get behind that, through it up to the Tyler's Cut and Dillon, we would need a bathtub sort of boat, or maybe one with a sliding drop canopy. But certainly this sedan-style cruiser isn't getting through there. So having completed that nice little turn here at Waveney Bridge, we're going back down the Ant now to tonight's mooring stop at London Bridge. Very windy across Barton Broad. Lots of seahorses, as we call them, down south on the sea. And certainly with this big sedan boat, we're feeling the wind.
With day 1 completed, we moored up at London Bridge overnight, and it was very, very windy. But we've woken up to an absolutely gorgeous morning, and today we continue our adventure as we head down the rest of the Ant and down the Bure towards Great Yarmouth. After a very windy departure from London Bridge, took us 3 attempts to cast off. That's a bit embarrassing. Need to just be braver at getting the stern out. Anyways,
we're now chugging down the Bure, and today's plan is to go all the way down the Bure to Great Yarmouth, and as long as Breydon Water isn't closed because of the wind, we'll get across Breydon Water and then up the Yare through Breydon to Loddon for the night. We're planning on stopping today at Stracy Arms, and we would have stopped at St Benet's Abbey to do some kite flying, except that the wind's far too much for just a kite flying for a 6-year-old. I think he'd be taking off with it. So, yeah, beautiful morning though. If you ignore the wind, the sun is absolutely blazing down. Gorgeous morning for it. On we go. As we're coming down the Bure, we're just approaching Upton Dyke, and for the first time ever, I've noticed that Clippesby Drainage Mill looks just like a Dalek. There you go. Bit of interesting video footage for you. So, whoops, that's Oby Drainage Mill. I'm sure someone would mention it otherwise. Oby. Oby Drainage Mill.
I've never moored here very often. You haven't moored here very often.
You've been here twice before.
And that will. And that means we haven't moored here 3 times. Times 3. We have been. We need a run!
Just stopped for a lovely milkshake and a couple of chips. Nice little lunch at the Stracy Arms, which I can confirm 2024 are fully open and lovely as always. So we continue our chug down the Bure and on to towards Great Yarmouth. Oh, rare geese! So we're approaching Great Yarmouth and it's make or break time. Very, very windy, and so sometimes Breydon Water gets close to Hirecraft. Now, for those that don't know, Breydon Water is a massive, great bit of water. There's no speed limit there, telling you how big it is, but it does get close to Hirecraft when the weather's not great. You have to be quite careful crossing it. You have to think about the tide, and it's recommended that you cross it at a time called slack water. Slack water happens just after low tide at Yarmouth Yacht Station. Now we're coming in a couple of hours early. It shouldn't cause us a problem through the bridges. The problem it will cause us is there will be water coming through Breydon Water that we'll have to fight against, but I was kind of expecting that. But if there's a lot of wind and it feels like there's a fair bit, they may not allow us through. And this is make or break for the whole big grand tour of the Broads project, because if we get stopped here, I don't think we'll be able to catch up. So, well, we'll see what happens. At the end of the day, safety is the priority, and if we can't cross, we can't cross. Well, we're now making our way across Breydon Water, and I think I may have misjudged the tide, because it certainly feels like we're battling one heck of a head tide, which is to be expected if you cross at the wrong moment, which I think we might have done. Either my tide table was wrong, or I've not allowed for Greenwich Mean Time, British Summer Time, or something. This is a good lesson in why you need to cross Breydon Water at slack water. Fighting against the tide like we are, this engine rev should be giving us about 7 miles an hour through the water, and we're only actually achieving 3 and a bit over ground. Meanwhile, the boat that's all the way over there, oh, I've lost them, there they are. They're going to be travelling with the tide, so they're probably travelling about 1 million miles an hour. This could be a long crossing, but Breydon Water wasn't closed, so the grand tour of the Broads continues. Up there is the River Waveney, which will come back down in a few days, and we're heading up this way past the lovely Burney Arms up the River Yare, having successfully crossed. Back over there, Breydon Water. It's taken a while, just over an hour today. Well, Burney Arms is just over there, and we're passing them nicely. I really hoped that once we got off the other side of Breydon Water, the strength of the tide would calm down, because at the end of Breydon Water it splits into 2 different rivers, the Yare and the Waveney, and we're now on the Yare, and we're still only managing 3.5 miles an hour. Oh. Right, we've been through Breydon and just past the chain ferry. I think it's more wind than it is tide, because according to my tide table, we're now past low tide and the tide should be helping us now. But There's some sort of storm, I think it was Storm Kathleen on the other side of the country, but it's giving us really strong winds and it's really noticeable. And unfortunately, the whole stretch from Great Yarmouth down to here has all been into the wind. We are now just about making 5 miles an hour. Well, anyway, we'll soon be getting towards the mouth of the Chet, and the River Chet will lead us down to Loddon, where we're hoping to stay for the night. But it's getting quite late now. I don't think we'll get onto the town quay. We'll probably need to go up to Chengrave Common, but we'll see. As we come into the Chet, the speed limit drops to 4 miles an hour, and it is so insanely narrow down this river. It really makes me nervous every time. But the rewards are worth it. It's a beautiful bit of the Broads. Having said that, the insane amount of crosswind today is only making it more spicy, more challenging, which I guess means more fun. When navigating down a narrow channel like this one, there's a couple of top tips. One would be don't video something, because that's really stupid. And then 2, use up as much of the river as you want until you see another boat. When you see another boat, get over to your side. But on these really sharp blind corners, I sort of think it's better to be in the middle of the channel so you can see better around them, and then you can always move in if you need to. But that's just me. Maybe other people would disagree. Good morning, and it's slightly overcast, slightly, I don't know, almost misty morning here in Loddon. Beautiful Loddon. I don't know why I like this place so much, but I really do. It's just a lovely little harbour. And I use the term harbour as in sheltered. It's only a stage, but it's absolutely gorgeous. Anyways, after last night's later than hoped arrival here, we are still on track. So today's plan is to get us to Norwich, which is much easier than yesterday's plan. I guess we better go. So now we're on the River Yare. It's a very wide river. Certainly, as far as here, it's been mainly surrounded by reeds, which aren't that interesting. But one of the reasons I quite like this river is you see some very different things you don't see anywhere else. One of them being the CAT-TDY sugar mill, sugar factory, whatever the right term is. This massive, great industrial complex that seems sort of really out of place. So it's not like a beautiful nature thing to look at, but it's certainly interesting. So there's another place we can't reach, Thorpe St Andrews, on the old course of the River Yare. There's 2 bridges you could get under if you were today less than 5.5 feet tall. Our boat is 7.5 feet tall. And to be fair, most bathrooms are even 6 foot, so no cruisers getting through there today. Today you would need a canoe. We're now coming into Norwich after a fairly uneventful trip up the Yare. And I just love coming through here. It's not like natural beauty. It's definitely just industrial nightmarish, but it's so different to the rest of the Broads. Just surrounded by buildings on a river in the middle of a city, which I just find sort of weirdly magical. But as it was an uneventful journey, here's a quick, hopeful video montage of things what we saw. Good morning from a fairly windy Norwich. You might just see the beautiful Norwich train station in the background. It's a beautiful building. And actually lots of beautiful buildings in Norwich. I'd forgotten that. We're now going to sail down the Yare all the way to Breydon. That's where we'll have lunch. And then on to Beccles for this evening. Unfortunately, we've got 40-mile-an-hour winds again, which will be fine until we get to Breydon, because there'll be tailwinds and helping us out. And then we have to do the Haddiscoe New Cut, which is very, very straight and very, very narrow, and it will be a crosswind, and it will just make that all very stressful. And then it will become a headwind again, meaning we'll be doing like 2 miles an hour. One part about this top reach of the Yare, as it becomes the Wensum, is lots of rowing boats. I've seen University of East Anglia mainly. And they're very fast and very impressive. Just give them plenty of space. Off of the River Yare are a couple of little detours that we've made to ensure we complete everywhere. One was through Bargate, which was a lovely little broad I don't think I'd ever been through before, and it's effectively a shortcut through Brundall. You travel more slowly, it takes exactly the same time, but it is a way of saving fuel. We're now heading down, check the name, the Fleet, which takes us to Rockland Broad, at the end of which you'll find Rockland St Mary, which from childhood memory, there's a great little pub there. So coming through Rockland Broad, and it's relatively interesting to navigate in that it has channel markers, because most of the Broad is too shallow to take a cruiser through, but if you keep to the channels, there's plenty of space. So it's just it's a bit different. Well, we had to abandon our lunch plans at Breydon. The water levels are very high at the moment. We're actually in a red flooding area, and we've seen several moorings, of which you might see some photos, where the water is actually above the moorings. Certainly at Breydon Quay, that's where it was. So no lunch stop at Breydon, we'll eat on the boat. And now is my least favourite part of the journey for today, down the Haddiscoe New Cut, which is a very, very straight channel for 45 minutes, but we've got quite a strong crosswind. That is one long straight channel. Zooming in, go really blurry probably, through the raindrops. Long and straight. Well, we survived our trip down the Haddiscoe New Cut. The strong side winds were strong. I was definitely driving at angles to get past it. Bit nerve-wracking when we had to pass a couple of boats the other way. It's not a wide channel anyway, and they also needed to be heading into wind. So we were both sort of sliding sideways down the channel towards each other. But there you go, it was all done, and we're now peacefully cruising down the River Waveney, having seen a train. When we arrived at Somerleyton Swing Bridge, the clearance was showing us 7 foot, and we need 7'8". So we decided to moor up at Somerleyton. I don't know what it says about our 6-year-old, or indeed his parents, that he asked to go to the pub, which we did. It was lovely, had a lovely little drink, and 40 minutes later there was enough clearance, but the bridge was open anyway. So we now continue down at the River Waveney, and we'll head for Beccles.
Window, really quick.
Well, I've never been through an open swing bridge before. So we've made it to Beccles, plenty of time, all good. There's a bus. And I'm standing on top of the thing. That means I've reached the end of the navigation that we can follow, because I'm standing on top of Beccles Old Bridge. And if I manage to, there might be a picture of it in a minute, but there might not be. And behind us is the bit of river we can't follow unless we have a much smaller boat. But back over there is the river we have followed, and over there in the trees, let's see, that's the white boat. Oh, I've put this before. I've gone the wrong way. There you go. Our boat's in there somewhere. From here, it looks like we've done quite a good job stern mooring Melody in Beccles. Unfortunately, it's very, very wonky due to a very strong crosswind coming across. We came in at the same time as one Renown next to us, who recognised me from a video. Hello if you're watching. And we both had the same problems. The wind would just not let up. From here, if I angle the camera, it's much more obvious how wonky our mooring is. But so is everything else. It's really windy. One of the things to really love about the Broads and its surrounding little villages, we're in Beccles, you find these little independent shops that do really cool things. So this place did some amazing bakery cakes and some ice creams, all made to order. Absolutely lovely. So just fun, really. We're out for another gorgeous morning here on the Norfolk Broads. We've just left Beccles at 8 o'clock, and today's plan is to get to Great Yarmouth, so we're in the full length of the Waveney, back across Breydon Water, and the only detour we need to make for completing the waterways is the little detour into Alton Broad, which will be nice to give my son a chance just to mess around on the helm. So off we go. And I cannot get across to you how gorgeous a morning it is. So we took a detour via Alton Broad, not as big as I thought it was going to be, still quite long. The boy had a great merry time on the helm, taking us around in circles. But that means we've now done Alton Broad and Alton Dyke. We're back now going down the Waveney through towards Somerleyton and St Olave's, and then we'll do the bit of the Waveney we haven't done down towards Breydon Water, and here's hoping for an easier crossing than last time. Mild bit of excitement coming up as we have to go through Somerleyton Swing Bridge with it closed. and it's showing 7 foot, about 10 inches clearance, and we need 7 foot 8. I hope you've not left anything on the roof, dear. Coming through Somerleyton Swing Bridge has made me realise there might be a flaw in the plan. When I originally planned this, we weren't going straight to Norwich, but we'd meet up with family, we'd rejig the plan. And I completely forgot to recheck the tide state as we go through St Olave's Bridge, which is quite a small one. Now, Somerleyton Bridge is posted in my map as 8 foot 6, and we just passed through with 8 inches less than that, about 7 foot 10. St Olave's is marked on my map as 8 foot, 8 inches less than that, 7 foot 4, and we need 7 foot 8 clearance. And looking at what we just had on Somerleyton, I'd say that's pretty accurate. I think we're going to get stuck above St Olave's, and we could go back round, but then we'd miss out a bit of the Waveney, and that won't complete the rivers. So I think we're going to have no choice but to find somewhere to moor up and wait for the tide to drop 4 inches. Just coming into sight now is the offending bridge that I think is going to spell the end of our grand tour plan. I'm pretty sure we're not going to get underneath that, and with that we will miss off an upper part of the Waveney.
Or bread and butter, they're your only choices.
So, with the St Olave's Bridge behind us, the plans for our grand tour have been foiled. For the want of 7 inches of air draft, the plan is over. Well, thanks to the powers of editing, we're at Great Yarmouth, and our holiday carries on. And I said that we'd go everywhere that we could get where we wouldn't be stopped by a low bridge. And I'm going to say we were stopped by a low bridge. That counts, right? Still? It's okay, yeah? Anyways, we're at Great Yarmouth now, Great Yarmouth Yacht Station, and I had forgotten just how high it can get from the boat, the quayside that is, at low tide. It's quite a jump on and off. Good morning from a overcast Great Yarmouth, which feels sort of about right for this area, really. It's not really a lovely, beautiful, natural spot. But there you go. We are heading back up the Bure today, and our target is Wroxham to get as far as the bridge, because we won't be able to get past Wroxham Bridge in much the same way that we couldn't get past St Olave's Bridge, not that I'm still sore about it. Taking our first detour off the River Bure to come down here to Malthouse Broad, otherwise known as Ranworth. We won't be stopping though, since the Broads Authority brought in mooring fees over there at the public stays. That over there is St Helen's Church, known as the Cathedral of the Broads. You can walk up to the top of it and you get an amazing view from the top. So now we've gone past Ranworth Broad, lots of these little small boats, the day boats, start appearing as they all come out of Wroxham, and people chug up and down this bit of the Bure, and it's all quite close together. It becomes very busy on this bit of the river, and I imagine in the summer it must be really busy. Well, we arrived at Wroxham. Norfolk Broad's direct was full. It looked like Brink's craft was full as well, but further down in their marina there were some very tight spaces, and we have very just about managed to slip into a stern mooring, which was tight. And we're thinking we might start heading back down the Bure and moor up at Salhouse Broad overnight, because we've never done it, and we might see some stargazing.
And it's mostly upstairs.
I should have something wise and clever to say to camera, but it's just a lovely moment, really. Well, it's not really what this video's about, but we're doing something we've never done as a family before. We have moored up for the night, and I say moored up by being in the middle of Salhouse Broad. It's gorgeous, it's lovely and quiet, and well, we're on the mudway. I've never done this before, so let's hope I don't end up in, I don't know, the trees over there, or bumping into one of those other boats that have chosen to mudway up. Salhouse Broad, one full day left. couple of little dikes left to do, and as much of the Thurn as you can do, and we've pretty much done everything we should do. Well, we had a fairly peaceful and spectacular night mud waiting in Norfolk Broad. Unfortunately, we had to leave slightly early as our mud weight just started to slip because of the wind. And now we're chugging back down the Bure. Today we're heading for Potterheim, as high up the Thurn as we can get. We need to tick off South Walsham, and then we'll head up the Ant, ready to return the boat tomorrow. We're chugging down Fleet Dyke off the River Bure, heading down to South Walsham Broad. That means we'll have ticked off all the little inlets off the River Bure, I believe. Soundhouse Broad was lovely. I think I mentioned that already. Cockshoot Dyke was a bit of a bust. We went there, rested up, had breakfast, and then went to go for a walk on the boardwalk, only to find it's been closed due to bad weather and storm damage. Rats. So we've got a bit of time in hand. We might go up to Womack Water instead of just to chug through. We might go mudweight there and have lunch there if you can mudweight there, because I've never been there, so I've got no idea. Having gone up to Ludham, we came back down the Womack Dyke and up the Thurn. Can't see the point of paying £5 more up for lunch. Feels like there should be a 3-hour mooring there to go to the shop, because we'll probably want ice cream. We're now on the approach to Potterheim, which of course is most famous for its ridiculously low medieval bridge, and there is no chance we're getting underneath it or anyone else. The bridge height is about 5 foot today. We're just about to moor up in Potterheim, meaning we've done as much of the Thurn as is possible to do, and I think that means we just need to head back to Stalham. And we've done the lot. Well, that's it. With that visit to Potterheim completed, all that's left for us now is to chug on back up the Ant to Stalham to be there in the morning. And in the space of 1 week, we have navigated the entire waterways of the Norfolk and Suffolk Broads, below low bridges that we can't get to with a high boat, and ignoring the small bit of the Waveney we couldn't do, but that was because of a low bridge, so it doesn't count. And I guess that's where the video ends. Thanks for watching, if you still are. Those keeping an eye on the map will have realised we've missed off 2 small parts of our go everywhere kind of project. So we've come all the way back up the Ant as far as we can to make sure we can tick them off in the morning. We're just approaching Barton Broad, and we're going to hope for us mooring at Gaystade, and if not, then Barton Turf. Well, it's our last day on the Norfolk Broads for this year, and we're starting off with a kingfisher hunt, and then we've got to tick off Sutton Stade, and that's it. We've done every bit of waterway it's possible to do. The question is, are we going to find a kingfisher? No. Kingfisher count 0. The traditional view of the Richardson's fleet returning home on turnaround day. We're completing the last part of the River Ant. When we came down here from Stalham a week ago now, we didn't come along this channel, we went through Barton Turf. So this just ticks off that little bit of triangle. And the next stop is Sutton Stade. The rest of the returning Richardson's fleet will be going straight up to Stalham. We are going to be turning down there to starboard to go and explore Sutton Stade as the last waterway we've not been down this holiday. Well, there it is, end of the line, Sutton Stade. It's quite narrow, so I'm not going to go down there. We'll turn around and head back to the boatyard. Well, with that, we've covered 167 miles, a little bit more to go to get round to Stalham. We have seen every single part of the Norfolk Broads below the low bridges, except the lower Waveney. And we've got lots of things that are already on our to-do list next year. It's been another fantastic holiday. I do so love it up here. Here's a quick photo montage of what we did.
so high I'm hypnotized. What's up is down, what's left is right. Chasing stars and holding you. I can't see the end, but we'll see it through.
And there we have it, 169 river miles and pretty much the entire waterways of the Norfolk Broads covered. Sorry it was a long video, and thanks for watching, if indeed you still are.